The family group chat notification chimed during my third chemotherapy session of the week. I glanced at my phone, the 4-line tugging slightly as I reached for it from the reclining chair in the oncology ward's private treatment room. Another doctor visit for Emma's mystery illness face with rolling eyes, my sister Jessica had typed. How convenient that her cancer only gets worse when she wants attention. The message was followed by a string of laughing emojis from my brother Mark and supportive responses from my parents. We're so tired of this drama, Mom had added. 8 months of this nonsense is enough. I screenshot the conversation and set my phone aside, watching the platinum-based drugs flow into my bloodstream through the port surgically implanted beneath my collarbone. The irony wasn't lost on me that my family's disbelief had grown stronger as my actual condition worsened. It had started 8 months ago with what I'd dismissed as persistent fatigue from my demanding job as a biomedical research coordinator at Metropolitan Cancer Institute. When the exhaustion became debilitating and strange lumps appeared along my neck, I'd finally scheduled the appointment that changed everything. Stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Dr. Patricia Chin had explained, her expression grave as she showed me the PET scan images. Aggressive type, but highly treatable with immediate intervention. We need to start chemotherapy within the week. I'd called my family immediately, expecting support and concern. Instead, I'd been met with skepticism that bordered on hostility. Cancer. Jessica had laughed during that first family meeting. Emma, you're 28 years old and you've never been sick a day in your life. This is obviously some kind of attention-seeking behavior. My parents had nodded in agreement. You've always been dramatic, Dad said. Remember when you claimed to have mono in college? It was just stress from finals. Mark had been more direct. Show us the medical records if it's real. Until then, we're not buying this performance. The problem was that my medical records were part of an ongoing clinical trial for innovative lymphoma treatments. As both a patient and a research coordinator at MCI, I had access to cutting-edge therapies unavailable to the general public. The confidentiality agreements surrounding the trial prevented me from sharing specific details about my treatment protocol. I can't show you the exact records, I'd explained. The treatment I'm receiving involves experimental procedures with strict privacy requirements. How convenient, Jessica had smirked. Secret cancer treatments that nobody can verify. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? Over the following months, my family's disbelief had intensified as I'd missed holiday gatherings, family dinners, and social events due to treatment side effects. When I'd lost 30 pounds and most of my hair, they'd accused me of developing an eating disorder and shaving my head for dramatic effect. Emma's getting desperate, I'd overheard Mom telling Jessica during a phone call. The weight loss is concerning but not because of cancer. She needs psychological help, not medical treatment. The cruelest irony was that my work at MCI meant I was surrounded daily by medical professionals who understood exactly what I was experiencing. Dr. Chin had expressed outrage at my family's response. This is medical abuse, she'd said bluntly during one of our consultations. Denying support to a cancer patient because they refused to believe the diagnosis? I've never seen anything like it. My colleagues in the research department had rallied around me with professional support, covering my responsibilities when treatment side effects made work impossible. They'd watched me fight through months of aggressive chemotherapy while maintaining my research contributions between sessions. Emma, Dr. Chin had said last week, your response to treatment has been remarkable. We'd like to present your case study at the annual hospital board meeting next month. Your combination of patient experience and research perspective offers unique insights. I'd agreed, knowing that my family would probably dismiss even that opportunity as another elaborate performance. Now, as the chemo drugs continued their careful work of destroying cancer cells throughout my lymphatic system, I watched the group chat fill with more mockery. 8 months of this act, Jessica typed. When does the performance end? Maybe when she realizes we're not falling for it, Mark replied. What they didn't realize was that the performance was about to move to a much larger stage, with an audience that understood exactly what cancer looked like. Tomorrow's board meeting would feature hospital leadership, oncology specialists, and medical researchers who'd spent months watching my genuine struggle against a very real disease. My phone buzzed with another message from Jessica. Bet she's not even at a real hospital right now. I looked around the state-of-the-art oncology ward where I'd spent countless hours over 8 months, surrounded by equipment worth millions and cared for by some of the nation's leading cancer specialists. Tomorrow my family would finally meet those specialists in person. The hospital board meeting invitation arrived 3 days later, elegantly printed on Metropolitan Cancer Institute letterhead. The board cordially invites the family of Emma Richardson to attend a special presentation regarding innovative lymphoma treatment protocols and patient advocacy. I'd forwarded the invitation to the family group chat without comment, curious to see their response. Now she's got the hospital playing along with her fantasy, Jessica typed almost immediately. This is getting out of hand. Mom's response was swift. We need to attend this meeting and explain to these doctors that Emma has serious psychological issues. She's clearly manipulated them somehow. Dad agreed. It's our responsibility to protect her from herself. These medical professionals don't understand her history of attention-seeking behavior. Mark was characteristically direct. Fine. Let's go to this fake meeting and expose her lies in front of everyone. Maybe public embarrassment will finally end this charade. What my family didn't know was that the meeting was actually the hospital's quarterly board presentation, attended by the city's most prominent medical professionals, research directors and healthcare administrators. Dr. Chin had arranged for my case study to be presented as the centerpiece of MCI's innovative patient care initiatives. Emma, Dr. Chin had explained during our pre-meeting consultation, your case represents a perfect intersection of patient experience and research contribution. The board wants to understand how our treatment protocols affect patients who are also medical professionals. The presentation would include detailed medical imaging, treatment timelines and research data that documented every aspect of my 8-month journey with lymphoma. More importantly, it would feature testimony from the entire oncology team that had witnessed my family's devastating lack of support. I've never seen anything like it, Dr. Sarah Martinez, my primary oncologist, had confided. A cancer patient whose family actively denies their diagnosis? It's beyond cruel, it's medically dangerous. Patients need emotional support for successful treatment outcomes. The night before the meeting, my family held a strategy session at Jessica's house. I knew because they'd accidentally included me in their planning group chat. We need to present a united front, Mom typed. Emma has clearly convinced these doctors she's sick, but we know the truth. Jessica outlined their approach. I'll explain her history of dramatic episodes. Mark can discuss her attention-seeking patterns. Mom and Dad can provide childhood examples of her exaggerating illnesses. Remember, Dad added, we're doing this to help her. These medical professionals need to understand they're enabling dangerous behavior. Mark's final message was particularly telling. By tomorrow night, everyone will know Emma's been lying about cancer for 8 months. This embarrassment might finally force her to get real psychiatric help. I screenshot their entire strategy session and forwarded it to Dr. Chin, who responded with professional outrage. This level of denial borders on delusional. The board needs to see this conversation. The day of the meeting, I arrived early at MCI's executive conference room. The space was impressive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a mahogany conference table that seated 30 people, and wall-mounted displays showing the hospital's latest technological achievements. Dr. Robert Harrison, MCI's president and chief medical officer, greeted me personally. Emma, thank you for allowing us to share your story. Your case study will help other patients understand that cancer doesn't discriminate based on age or profession. Board members filed in gradually. Department heads, research directors, prominent physicians and healthcare administrators representing the region's medical establishment. I recognized several faces from medical conferences and research publications. My family arrived exactly on time, dressed formally for what they believed would be their opportunity to expose my deception. Jessica wore her most authoritative business suit, clearly prepared to address medical professionals she assumed had been fooled by my performance. Emma, Mom whispered as they took seats across from me, it's not too late to tell the truth. These doctors will understand if you explain that you need help. Dad nodded supportively. We're here to support you through this, but the lies have to stop. Mark surveyed the impressive conference room with obvious skepticism. Quite an elaborate setup for a fake medical presentation. Jessica was already studying the board members, preparing her planned intervention. "Just remember, we're doing this because we love her." Dr. Harrison called the meeting to order as late arrivals found their seats. The final count showed 28 medical professionals in attendance, including the heads of oncology, research, patient advocacy, and hospital administration. "Today's presentation focuses on innovative lymphoma treatment protocols," Dr. Harrison announced, "and the unique case study of patient Emma Richardson, who has contributed remarkable research insights while undergoing aggressive cancer treatment." My family's confident expressions began to falter as the magnitude of their mistake became apparent. Dr. Chen stepped to the podium with a laser pointer and activated the room's massive display screens. The first slide showed my patient identification information, complete with MCI medical record numbers and treatment authorization codes. "Ladies and gentlemen, I present the case of Emma Richardson, diagnosed 8 months ago with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma," Dr. Chen announced. "This case study demonstrates both our treatment protocol effectiveness and the critical importance of family support during cancer therapy." My family's faces went completely white as detailed PET scan images filled the screens. The lymph node involvement was clearly visible, dark spots throughout my neck, chest, and abdomen that no healthy person could fake. "The initial presentation was aggressive," Dr. Chen continued, using her laser pointer to highlight the cancer's spread. "Multiple lymph node regions affected, with significant tumor burden requiring immediate intervention." Mom's hand flew to her mouth as she stared at the medical imaging. "Those are real," she whispered. "Treatment protocol included 6 cycles of R-CHOP chemotherapy," Dr. Chen explained, showing medication schedules and dosage charts. Patient Richardson demonstrated exceptional resilience, maintaining her research responsibilities between treatment sessions. Dr. Martinez stood to present the psychological impact assessment. Most concerning was the complete lack of family support. Patient Richardson's family actively denied her diagnosis, refusing to provide emotional assistance during treatment. She clicked to screenshots of the family group chat messages I'd provided. Jessica's mockery and Mark's accusations appeared on the massive screens, magnified for 30 medical professionals to read. "Just another dramatic doctor visit," Dr. Martinez read aloud. "Stop faking cancer for attention." These messages were sent while the patient was receiving chemotherapy in our oncology ward. The room fell into stunned silence. Several board members turned to stare at my family, who sat frozen in obvious horror. Dr. Harrison's voice carried barely controlled anger. "Mrs. Richardson, are these messages from your family's group chat?" Mom nodded mutely, unable to form words. "You accused your daughter of faking stage 3 lymphoma?" Dr. Harrison continued. "While she was undergoing life-saving chemotherapy treatments in our facility?" Jessica finally found her voice, though it came out as a croak. "We didn't know. She said she couldn't show us medical records." "Because she's participating in a clinical trial," Dr. Chen interjected sharply. "Confidentiality agreements prevent patients from sharing specific protocol details. This is standard practice in cancer research." Dr. Robert Stevens, the hospital's chief of oncology, stood slowly. His reputation in cancer treatment was legendary, 30 years of experience with thousands of patients. "In 3 decades of oncology practice," Dr. Stevens said, his voice heavy with disgust, "I have never encountered family members who actively denied a cancer diagnosis. This represents a profound failure of basic human compassion." The screens now showed my treatment timeline: 8 months of documented chemotherapy sessions, blood work, progress scans, and medical consultations. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. "Patient Richardson's response to treatment has been excellent," Dr. Chen concluded. "Her cancer is now in complete remission. However, the psychological trauma inflicted by her family's denial may require long-term counseling." Mark's voice was barely audible. "Remission? She actually beat cancer." "Despite your family's refusal to believe she had it," Dr. Martinez confirmed coldly. 6 months later, I received a formal letter from MCI's board of directors. My case study had been published in the Journal of Oncology Patient Care and was being used to train medical professionals about the psychological impacts of family denial during cancer treatment. The hospital had also established the Emma Richardson Patient Advocacy Fund to support cancer patients who lacked family support. My story had generated enough attention to fund full-time social workers dedicated to helping patients navigate treatment without emotional assistance. Jessica's attempts at reconciliation had been pathetic and persistent. "We thought we were protecting you from making a terrible mistake," she'd written in a 10-page email. "How could we have known you actually had cancer?" "By believing me," I'd replied simply. "And by understanding that accusing someone of faking cancer requires evidence, not just suspicion." My parents had tried a different approach, suggesting family therapy to work through this misunderstanding. I'd declined, pointing out that medical denial wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a choice they'd made repeatedly for 8 months. Mark had been the most honest. "I was wrong and I don't know how to fix it." "You can't," I'd told him during our single phone conversation. "You denied my cancer diagnosis while I was dying. That's not fixable." The final vindication came when Dr. Harrison invited me to join MCI's Patient Advocacy Board. My experience with both cancer treatment and family medical denial had qualified me to help other patients navigate similar challenges. "Sometimes," Dr. Harrison had said during my appointment ceremony, "the people who should support us most are the ones who fail us completely. But surviving that failure makes you uniquely qualified to help others." My family had excluded me from their support when I needed it most. Now I provided that support professionally to patients whose families had failed them too. Sometimes the best revenge was using your trauma to heal others while letting your family live with the permanent knowledge of their cruelty.